I hope I'm on. Okay, good. So who's excited to continue? I don't know. I just wanted to stay and worship. But then I was like, oh, you got to get up there. We got to stop it. I love when the Spirit is moving, and I continue to pray that the Spirit uses me today and works through me today, because I really, as I prepare this message, I really feel like it's for me and for us. And so we are in a series called Yes, She Did It. And being a woman pastor, I love when we talk about women, because it's like, yes, go us, right? And all the women are like, yay. Men, yay too, support your women. But before we get into the woman that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about us a little bit. And I brought my fancy boat. Some of you guys, especially living near the lake, you might have some really nice boats. So please don't make fun of my boat. But I don't have money, so I don't have fancy boats. But we're going to pretend that this is our boat, and really what I want it to represent today is this is our life, and this is us. And we go through life, and we think we are the ones steering our lives, and we want to go over there with life, right? Oh, I want to go over here. Let's work really hard. Let's go. Let's get to here, right? You think you're going to get to there yourself, whether it be a job, marriage, career, I don't know, whatever it is you work towards. And then you're like, oh, no, there's something over there. Oh, let's work really hard. Let's get there. And you are stressed out. You are struggling, and you are a hot mess. But you think, I'll just work hard enough. I'll just row hard enough. You might have plastic rows trying to do it. It's going to really take you a long time. You're like, man. Your arms might look good afterwards, though. And then you carry some things around with you on your boat that you think, no, it's mine. So let's talk about it. Carry things around like time. You think, well, it's my time. It's my calendar. It's my agenda. So you put that in your boat with you. You carry around your job. You're like, that's my job. I work hard to get that position. Maybe you carry things around in your boat like your family. Well, that's my family right there. That is my family. They cute. Maybe you carry around your talent. Mine's a microphone, because really I feel like my only gifting is preaching. But I might have more giftings. But so mine is that. Yours might be something else. Whatever your gifting is, whatever your talent is, you know it. Cooking, administrative, drums, I don't know, whatever your talent is. You put it in your boat, though. Well, we don't like to talk about this in church. But your money, there's no money in here. It's my husband's. It's because I take it all, let's be honest. Okay. Or in your health. This represents our health. And we put all these things in our boat. And we think, I got this. This is all mine. And you hold on really tight. And you go and you get down the river, and it's all about us. And what I want to talk to us about today, guys, is our lives are not about us. They're not. We have made our lives about us. We have, especially in America. Our lives are about all of us, our needs, our desires, I wants. Just go ahead and put it in that boat, and you make your way there. But that is not what our life is about. And so the woman that I want to talk to you today is a lovely lady named Esther. And a lot of you probably know her, if you grew up in church, as Queen Esther. And so we're going to talk about Miss Queen Esther today. And I love her story, especially as I began to study more, which I do before I share on something. I love her story. So some scholars say that Esther was an orphan. So right there, her situation was not ideal. She was an orphan, okay? Which back then in their culture was not a good thing. Her life was probably rough. She was a Jewish woman. She was sold into the king's harem, which if we want to kind of call it like it is, she was human trafficked. If we want to really say what it was, that's what she was. It is not the life that she probably dreamed of. It is not the life that she was like, yep, God, I want to be an orphan. Yep, and I want to be sold over here to the king's harem. That's not, I'm sure, what she woke up and prayed about. But that's her life. That's what happened. But what is really cool is that God took that situation, okay? And we all know, we don't really talk about that part of the story, do we? We talk about what she did. But we have to talk about this part of the story because all of those situations led up to her becoming queen. And when she became queen, then amazing things happened where she was able to free the Jewish people. And so let's look in Scripture. In Esther 3:13 it says, dispatches were sent by couriers to all the king's province with the order to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children, on the single day, the 13th day of the 12th month, on the month of Adar, and to plunder their goods. So here, the Jewish people were going to be, it's like, not only, let's not destroy them, let's kill them, and then they have like annihilate. Like, let's just wipe them out. And then we're going to just plunder all their goods. Like, they looked at the Jewish people that they were nothing, okay? So they were going to be killed, and Queen Esther, because she was put in the queen position, now could put herself in a position that she would be able to do something about it. So what I want to talk about is some things we can learn from her story. So the first thing, if you're taking notes, the first thing that we can learn is that God has a purpose for every situation. Every situation. Her purpose was more than being the beautiful queen. If you learn about Esther, she was beautiful. She was the most beautiful. She was gorgeous. That's one of the reasons the king liked her so much. She was pretty, but she was more than a pretty face. She had a plan and a purpose for her situation. She was more than an orphan. She was more than a Jewish girl. She was more than someone that just happened to get sold into the king's harem. There was a purpose in her situation past all of the things. So guys, there is a purpose for everything in this boat. Your family, your job, your time, your health, your talents, your finances. There is a purpose for all of this. Well, you're like, well, what is it? Or maybe you're feeling like, you don't know the situation that I'm in. There's not a purpose in this situation. There can't be a purpose in this situation. I'm trying to get out of this situation. Don't you think Esther wanted to get out of her situation? Had she got out of the situation, had she ran away from being sold, had she escaped, she would have never been in the position to then save the Jews. She would have missed it. There is a purpose in your situation that you're going through. You're like, well, you know what? Maybe you're watching online and you're sick in a hospital bed. And I am so sorry that you're sick and you're laying in the hospital, and I pray that you get better. But there is a purpose, even in the hospital bed. What doctor could you, if that was you, what doctor could you encourage while there? What nurse could come in to your room that was really struggling and she just needed to see Jesus in you? But this is what happens, guys. You're in your situation right now. Whatever situation you're dealing with, you can think of it right now. Maybe you're not in a hospital bed, but you're in a situation. And you know what you've done and you've let the devil do is you allowed the devil to take that situation and put it all about you. And you've thrown yourself a pity party. I wish I wasn't in this. It's true. That's what we do. And we turn the focus off of why we're in that situation and how God can use us in the situation, and we focus it on us. Woe is me. And there might be legit things. I'm not saying that. The person laying in the hospital, you might have a legit thing. That's not what I'm talking about. But you can still be used, and you can still be used in your situation. When we take the focus off of us and think, okay, why am I in this situation? What purpose can come out of this? What can God do through me in this situation? You know how many people in the Bible actually did amazing things that were in jail cells? You know what? If I was put in jail, do you think the last thing I do is think about other people? I would think, oh man, get me out of this place. Woe is me. What jail cell have you put yourself in because of the situation you're dealing with? I don't know what you're dealing with. Lost job, finances, divorce, kids acting crazy, maybe your husband's acting crazy. I don't know. You're stressed out. And you're in a situation, I get it. You're in that jail cell. Are you dancing in your jail cell? Are you still being the hands and feet in the jail? Or are you so focused on the situation that you've lost sight of God in it? That God could use it. That God can work it out for His good, whatever it is. It's not good to be in a jail cell. If Esther would have stayed and didn't see, there's no telling what would have happened. See, guys, our lives isn't about us. And when we truly figure this out, that life isn't about us, it's truly for God, His plan, and His purposes, things change. We no longer hold on to all of this stuff with this tight grip. We start looking, what's the purpose? What is the purpose of all this stuff? What is it? The situation you're going through, start looking at it in the lens of like, how can I use this? What can I do in the middle of it? Whose life can I affect and take the focus off of you? Now, this is hard to do. Y'all are sitting there like, nah, I ain't doing that. I can see it on your faces. This is the great thing about being a pastor is we can see your faces, and I can read your faces, and a lot of you are like, lady, no, this is about me. You don't know what they did to me. Let me tell you, it's about me. I promise you, listen, I promise you, every time I preach, I'm preaching to myself because it's easy to say, so easy for me to say up here. It's another thing that's hard to do. I know it's hard to do. But we have to, guys. We have to. So back to the story of Esther. So Esther caught wind that her people were going to be killed, and she knew she had to do something, right? So she came up with her plan, but her plan was risky. She knew that if she really walked out the plan, that she could be killed. So we're going to continue on in Esther 4, and it says, Then she instructed him to say to Mordecai, all the king's officials and the people of the royal providence know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner courts without being summoned by the king has but one law, that they be put to death unless the king extends the golden scepter to them and spares their life. But 30 days have passed since I was called to the king. So this is Esther saying, back then, you were the king would call you if he wanted to speak to you, right? And if you went before the king and tried to talk to him and he did not hold out the golden scepter, you will be killed. It was that simple. It sounds crazy, right? But that's just how it worked. So Esther knew that if she approached the king, because it was not her time to approach the king, she knew it, that when she stepped out, she could be killed. It was very risky. And so that's the second thing that I want to talk about is serving God often demands risk. See, guys, we treasure security. We build our boats up and our lives, and we get in them, and we get comfortable. Guys, we love security. We love security so much in America. We have insurance for everything. We got car insurance, just in case you get in a wreck. We got flood insurance. We got fire insurance. We got if someone gets hurt on your trampoline insurance. There's life insurance. There is insurance, because you want to be insured. Something can happen. Anything could happen. We never hardly use our insurance. We pay millions of dollars. That's just a side note. But we love insurance. We love security. It makes you feel safe, right? Well, I got that insurance, I'm good. Does that really insure you of anything other than bills getting paid? No. Is it going to ensure that a flood's not going to happen? No. It's just like the bills are going to get paid. The flood's probably still going to happen. But we do. We love security. And we like to take all of these things and we just kind of do this. This mine. He's all mine. And you hold so tightly. Some of your kids are like, yeah, you hold on to me so tightly. Let a grip go. Some of you helicopter moms just saying, let them go a little bit. Kids, don't look at your parents. Stop it. All the kids are like, yeah, Mom. It's okay. We love you. That's why we do it. But you hold on to things so tightly. But you know what Esther did? She stepped out of her boat. She no longer made her life about her. When she stepped out in front of the king, her life was no longer about her. It was about, you know what? I know what's about to happen to all of my people. I'm going to take the risk. She risked her life. Now, guys, I am not saying that you need to go out and be martyrs. Unless God's calling you to do that. I don't know. He could. That's not what I'm saying, okay? We're in a different time. You're not stepping out before a king going, hey, you know what? I'm risking my life. That's not what I'm asking. But what I am saying is that when is the last time you've stepped out and risked anything for God? Not even your life. I mean anything. Anything in that boat. Have you risked your family, your time, your health, your fine? Have you done any risking? Or have you just held on to it so tightly and said, you know what, it's mine. I got this. Guys, when we serve a God, I have learned over the years that it is risky. So you're like, what would that look like? So I'm going to share personally in our lives what risk has kind of looked like. Because you're probably like, what does that look like? What would that look like in my life? So for us, I'm going to talk about kind of the ways I feel we have risked in our lives. So first, I'm going to talk about our time, our money, our jobs, our talents. I'll kind of roll all those in one. So anytime God has called me and my husband and our family to another level of ministry or to a church or to anything that we feel like God's calling us to do as a family, it has been nothing but risk. Nothing but. When we thought we had everything going in the world standards, you know, the house, the cars, the jobs, we're good financially, like we're just rolling around, like living life, like woo. God's like, yeah, you're going to leave all of that, and I want you to go to Cincinnati. We're like, what's in Cincinnati? Nothing. There was something. It was the call to ministry. But that meant leaving the security net that we have built. We lost the second car because my husband had a company car. We had one car. How are we going to live off of one car? We went from making pretty decent money to probably making 1/3 of what we were making. We were like, how are we going to do it? We're like, I don't know. Let's just trust. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just like, let's go. At the time, we only had 2 kids, though, so we were a little more risky. So we were like, we got this. So we left everything. Everybody thought we were crazy. I mean, my husband left a job that he was at before I even came around. Yeah, it was a long time he'd been at that job. Left it all. We're going to go to Cincinnati. But what was awesome is the things that we didn't see that was going to bless us when we got there. Before we left, someone gave us a car. It was a junker, okay? It was like $900. I mean, it was probably 1982 something. I don't even know what it was. It was so ugly, guys. It was so ugly. Pastor, oh my God. I was like, I got to drive this thing. Like, hey, your new pastor, look at me. I'm so cool. It was so ugly. But you know what? It got us there and back. What was really cool, though, is that when we got there, someone actually blessed us with a brand new car, gave it to us. And I could sit here and tell you multiple things that happened through that move. My husband got a great job at the Creation Museum. Y'all know that Creation Museum? They built the ark and stuff. He was the media techie, what he does now, but he done it there. We bought a house. I mean, it was great. It was fine. Everything we risked, we were like quadruple blessed, okay? What seemed like a risk ended up being something great. What Esther did, the risk that she did, ended up being something great. Okay, that's how it works. Because you trust God. Things might look risky to us, but not to God. He knows what's coming. It might seem like, whoa, but every time, so we went to Cincinnati, then God calls us to something else. You know, we're risking again. We're like, man, we just finished our basement. It was beautiful. I just love that basement. It was like, and he's like, nah, you're leaving. Because you know what? None of that stuff matters. We think it does. Oh, that's really cool. We left it all again, moved again, left everything. Every time we've been called, it was like we got to a place of what? Contentment. My husband hates that word because he's like, just when we get a place of contentment, God stirs it up and it kicks you on out. That's what happens. When we're good, we're like, this is the perfect spot. This is where we're supposed to, this is good. He's like, nuh-uh. We're like, uh-huh. He's like, nuh-uh. We're like, uh-huh. And he moves us on out. And I guarantee you, the next adventure that my family is called to is going to be the riskiest thing yet, because that's just how God is. I know, God, you're funny. But that's what risking looks like. And when you truly let go of all of the things, when you are like, you know what, God, this is risky, but it's your plan and your purpose, I'm going to follow. And guys, I will tell you, every step of the way, we were good. We were good. He took care of us, even when we didn't know how he was going to. He did. Because, guys, God's got you. Take some risk. So the second thing is I left out family and your health. Because, guys, do we ever want to risk our family and our health? I mean, we could risk a job, like, okay, whatever. But a lot of times we are like, no, these are my babies. Or your health. Would you actually step out for God knowing that you could be killed? Would you truly risk your life? It's really quiet right now. I don't know if I would. I'm going to be honest. Would I really, knowing you could be killed, just go, I hope I would. I've never been asked that. But the reality is we hold on to these two things very tightly because it means family, it means kids, it means husbands, it means your own health. I don't know. But how I feel we've risked in the world standard is risk. I don't consider it risk. Our families, is we have taken them to third world countries. I love missions. Missions is at the core. Actually, because of our pastor, the very first mission trip I went on was our pastor here, and I fell in love, and I've never been the same. So I've been all over the world. I take people on trips all the time. And so the picture that you see here is a summer that we had spent some time in Ecuador. And God called us to Ecuador. I took a team down there, and then after the team left, we stayed for a little bit to do some stuff. The reality is, the world can say, that was really risky. You could get a disease. You could get robbed. You could get this. I mean, there's all kinds of things people would say would happen in a third world country. And you're right, it could have. It could have. It didn't. Although we were robbed, but it's okay. It wasn't like gunpoint or anything. They just stole our stuff because they don't have anything. So it was fine. But it is risky. And so that's a picture of my, at the time, 12-year-old son. We had 3 kids that we took. And I want you to notice in the background, if you go to the next picture, in the background of that picture, there is our 1-year-old that we took, and that's my little head. Yes, I took a 1-year-old on a missions trip. I strapped him on most of the time, on my back, on my belly. At that point, he was on my hip, and I'm praying over people. Because guys, hear me. God can use any situation for his good. You young mama thinking your whole job right now is to raise your family? Yes, it is. But what is your purpose for God in the moment? Who are you touching? I hate when we get into places and we think, well, I can't, and you put labels on yourself and whatever. Nah, that little boy, we were just like, here we go. And we took him. And people would say that's very risky. You don't know how many people are like, you're taking your 1-year-old to a third world country. Yes, I am. Because there was a plan and a purpose that I had for us in that moment. I would take my 1 to 2-year-old at the time with me to do ministry. Because you know what? You can still do ministry, guys, at any time. Okay? Hear me. So I took him down there, and I will never forget. That was a long time ago, guys. That kid is 18. I remember it like it was yesterday. He was in a laundry basket, which is hilarious. But we had a laundry basket, I guess, for the goods. And he was in the laundry basket playing. And I'm over here serving, and I'm watching him, and he's playing. And I look over. And the joy on those people's faces, I will never forget. Most of the time, those people never smile. There's no joy in their life whatsoever. And I will never forget that me just going, okay, whatever, God, this might be risky. Because most people would say, oh my gosh, you're going to take your kid down? That's not a very sanitary place to be taking a kid. The joy that came over those people that day, and they played ball with him, and they were cutting up, and they were so happy in a moment. If I could just bring the love of Jesus for one moment to the hurting, that's why I risk. That's why I do it, because I don't want to miss it. I don't want to, when I die, go, well, my life was really about me. I do not want to miss how God can use me in every step of the way. I do not want to miss the opportunities that he have. You know what? It might be risky, but you know what? They remembered my boy. We would go back frequently at that time, and they would be like, where's Ezra? They were so happy. And just for a moment, even my 2-year-old was being the hands and feet of Jesus just by showing joy. So guys, why do I do it? It is risky. It's because when I die, don't want to be like, you know what? I kept all this in the boat. I did a great job. No, I want to say that every time God asked me, I stepped out. That I got out of the boat. You know what's around the boat? Water. It's not stable. You might sink. You might drown. You don't know what you're getting into. You can't even see what's under there, right? This is security. But when you step out, guys, I promise you, every time we've stepped out and risked anything for the Lord, God has always been there, right there. Every time. Even when where's my husband? I don't know where he's at. There's times we're like, we're like really like, we're like this. There's times in our lives we're like, let's just test the waters. You ever been there? She's like, should I risk? I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. There's been times, okay? It's not like every time we were just like, okay, here we go. Ah. Trust me. That's not what I'm saying. It's definitely been like, okay, let's pray about this. Let's fast. Guys, want to get real spiritual? You just start fasting. That's what we do. We're just like, we're going to fast. Me and my husband like, okay, we're going to fast and pray. Okay, let's do that. God's clearly told you, we're going to fast and pray anyways. We spiritualize it. All jokes aside, go, I know that this is scary. I know it. Was it scary when I take my kids all over the third world? Yes, it is. I'm not saying that it's not. Do you not think Esther was scared when she stepped out in front of the king that day? I'm sure she was terrified. Her life was on the line. She was literally probably shaking, like praying the whole time. I'm praying she was Pentecostal. And so she's speaking in tongues. And she's like, and so she's like, I'm sure she was scared. It is scary. I'm not saying that it's not. So that's the third thing that I want to talk about is, it's scary. But serving God takes courage. It has to. Yes, it's scary, but that's where courage comes in. And then I put on there with some careful planning. Because the reality, guys, is that what we think is secure in our little boats, and what we feel like we've got a hold of it, we got this, we can do this, and we just start sailing along. A lot of us, 2019, probably felt like, life is good. I got this. I am going to just sail into 2020 with all kinds of goodness. Then 2020 shows up. This is the reality, though, of 2020. It didn't teach us anything. In hear me, one event can wipe out all of these things. Let me show you. Oh, your family. This is COVID talking. Your family? Oh, yeah, I can take them out. Oh, if not take them out, I can get them really sick and then they can have symptoms for the next 2 years of their life. Oh, that job that you've worked so hard for. Yeah, you no longer have that. Oh, your time? All those dates you got full on your calendar? Yeah, that's all gone because now you can't do anything because of restrictions and mandates and quarantines, and your calendar is now wiped. You got all the time in the world to do nothing. Oh, your finances. Oh, wait, you don't have a job, so now you don't have any money. Oh, nice. I'll take that too. Oh, your talents, yeah, everything's shut down. You ain't doing that. And your health, yeah. How's that going? Guys, in an instant, what you thought you had control over, and it's just, COVID literally could have wiped out every single one of those. And maybe it did. Maybe it was one thing. Maybe it was all. Maybe it was nothing. I pray to God that you were not affected in any way. But most of us were. And those things that you held on to so tightly in one fell swoop. So what about the next pandemic that happens? What about the next big wave that comes your way, what then? Are you going to be ready? Are you? See, guys, possessions that we work so hard to get can be destroyed in a second. That's what me and my husband, guys, I learned it, especially when I went to Africa for the first time. None of that stuff means anything. Nothing. We are so blessed here. Guys, relationships can be broken, beauty fades, death is inevitable for all of us. It is. You can have all the life insurance in the world, you're still going to die. One day, I hope it's a long time, okay? All of us live to, I don't know. I always say I'm lived to like 100 and something. I'm going to be that lady that's like the never-ending grandma. Get stuck with me. I'm not kidding. I'm going to walk around with my little teeth. I tell my kids all the time. I love it. Guys, I'm such a dork. You're going to learn that about me. I love it. So listen, guys. Real security then must be found beyond this life. Only when our security rests on God and His unchanging nature can we face the challenges of this life. It's the only way. Do you want to know why everyone was so stressed out during the pandemic? You know, there were so many divorces. The more people mentally, a hot mess, depression, anxiety. I mean, people falling apart that you thought had it all together. You were just like, man, she's calling me crying again. What? Or maybe your husbands are like, yeah, that was you, honey. I mean, COVID, I'm telling you, it just, you want to know why? Because we were so focused on all of this. Your job was your idol. Your whatever. It wasn't, I'm going to use this for the Lord. You were like, that family? Oh, that's my family. I birthed those babies. I take care of them. I'll give you mamas, you know. You birth them, you clean them, you feed them, you change the diaper. You do everything. I know. I homeschool my kids too. It's like, I do it all. But they're not my kids. They're God's. Well, that job that you have, you're like, that's my job. I went to school. I got a degree. I worked there for 20 years to be promoted. That is my job. Is it? Or you're talking about your time. You put things on your calendar, and it's good things. You know, it's the ball games, it's the lake trip, it's the vacations, it's all the good stuff. What is on your calendar right now for something that you're doing for the Lord? Everyone's quiet. It's so true, guys. Your money, let's not even talk about that. Guys, none of this stuff, your talents, none of this is ours. We're just supposed to steward this. That's what we're supposed to do. We hold on to it like it's ours. I earned it. I did that. Oh, that talent? Oh, that's just my natural abilities. Oh, God didn't give you that talent? Or that talent that you've worked on your whole life, you're like, no, I've been practicing piano since I was little. I'm good at it because I'm good at it. Or soccer, or football, or I don't know, whatever your talent is. And you think it's my talent. Guys, you're just supposed to be stewarding those things. That's it. And when we steward it, things change. I love Esther's story because when she stepped out, the whole life of the Jews changed the moment she stepped out. It says in Esther 7, then Queen Esther answered, if I've found, this is when she's talking to the king, okay? So this is after she had stepped out, and this is what she's saying to the king. If I have found favor with you, your majesty, and if it pleases you, grant me my life, this is my petition, and spare my people, this is my request. For I and my people have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated. We have merely been sold as male and female slaves. I would have kept quiet, because no such distress would justify disturbing the king. But King Xerxes asked Queen Esther, who is he? Where is he? The man who has dared to do such a thing. So Esther tells him, an adversary and enemy, the vile Haman. And if you know the story, Haman was then impaled and the Jewish people, including Esther, was saved, which was an amazing ending. As I'm studying, I think back, what if Esther wouldn't have stepped out? Would the Jews have been annihilated? Would they have been? I don't know. Would have God used someone else? I don't know. See, Esther had courage. But listen, guys, she had a plan too. That's the second part. Listen, guys. She asked the Jews to fast and pray leading up to it. She didn't go in there. She fasted. They prayed. She had a plan. If you read the whole story of Esther, where she purposely had set up the perfect time for the banquet and for Haman to be there. I mean, it was like it was an amazing plan. She knew what needed to happen for the right things to take place, for things to go. So I am not saying that you just need to hop in this boat and be like, okay, here we go. You know what? I don't care about that. Okay. Okay. Oh, these, I don't know. And you just float around like, wherever life takes me, God, let's go. I'm not sure where I'm going to end up. That's not what I'm saying, okay? When me and my husband risk all these things, there was a plan. I am not saying go get rid of your life insurance and sell your house and just give all your money away and now you have no money to pay the bills. Hear me. That's not what I'm saying. We're not foolish with all of these things. We are stewards of all of these things. And when you steward well. Hear me. There's a plan. Esther had a plan. I'm not just saying go out here and willy-nilly. Y'all say that? Is that like a country thing? Willy-nilly throw your stuff around? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it takes courage, it takes risk, but there's a plan, okay? There is. So don't just, today go and be like, well, Pastor Angela said I just needed to and then you tell your husband like, I think that means I need to leave you. That's not what I said. You're not part of my plan. That's not what I'm saying. That's a joke, husbands. We're kidding. I love you. But there is a plan, because listen, guys, when God has a plan and a purpose, it's going to all work out, okay? So don't just, what we need to do is just steward. See, guys, when we truly line up with God's plan, it might feel risky. When me and Brandon did it, it felt risky. But we have learned, one of the things that I feel like God has shown us over the years is that when you take things and you go from this, which is so hard, when you go from this and you say, at God's feet, at the altar, you know what? I'm going to give you my family, Lord. That's hard. A mom of 6 kids? Very hard. I get it. But when we go from a place of holding on and we go for a place of stewarding instead of us trying to be the captains of our ship, it might look a little different. It might look like that kid that's going to be a baseball player, or that kid that's going to be a doctor, or that kid that you have all these plans for? Is that what God has planned for that kid? Or is that your plan? See, guys, when you truly start stewarding the things of your life, it's no longer about you and what you think is best and what you feel is right. It turns into, what does God have planned for my family? Maybe you don't have kids at home. Maybe it's just you and your husband. Maybe it's just you because you're single. Maybe you're young. I don't know what it is. What does God have for you? Or is your life all about you and what you can accomplish and what you can do? And when we move from a place of steering our own and we just steward the blessings. So beautiful, guys. So beautiful. Our time. We treasure our time. We fill up our calendars. We fill up our things. Some of us just are busy like nobody's business. You just all the time, run. But those things on your calendar, is it benefiting you and your family, or is it benefiting God? Is your calendar full of things you can be doing? I love, not she's going to hate me for calling her out. Pastor's wife is down at the community table serving today, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm going to miss it. I'm like, are you kidding me? You are exactly what I'm preaching on. Be in the hands and feet of Jesus. Putting things on your calendar that aren't about you. Guys, our life and our time that God has given us, we're just supposed to steward it for Him. What can you have me do, God, with the 24 hours I have tomorrow? What do you want me to do? I know what I want to do. I just want to rest. Can I? Is it what I want to do, or is it what God would have? Well, that talent you have. Some of you are super talented in this room. You have your giftings. I can look around. You have your thing. You're like, that's my calling. Some of you women, it's hospitality. You are the best. You can cook. You have people, men, you have your talents. I'm not a man, so I'm like, I never know what to say. Like, what are your talents? Do you hunt? I don't know. Play, I don't know. Pastor's better at that. He'll tell you what your talents are. But you have a talent. We all do. God's given you a talent to use for His glory. We're all uniquely made, okay? But are you using that talent that you have just for you, to glorify you, to whatever? Or are you saying, you know what? I'm going to give you my talent. You don't know how many people growing up thought that I was going to be a lawyer because I was a talker. Oh my goodness, you look at my report cards from kindergarten, talks too much. So mamas, hear me. Mamas, if you got a kid that talks all the time, they can end up like me. Okay. So I was a talker. People like, she could be a good lawyer one day. You know what, guys? I could have done that. I was a straight A student until I dropped out. Go figure. Literally, I really was. Just life threw me a curveball. I made some bad choices. I could have been a lawyer. But is that what God called me to do? No. I can say that now. Back then, when people would say that, I'm like, maybe I should be a lawyer. They make good money. They're not as... Anyways. Okay. My filter just worked. So, your talent, though, are you using it in ways... you can use it on this stage. Maybe you got a talent right that we don't even know about. We need you. Come on. Oh, job's tough. Job's tough. Because some of you have worked really hard to get that job. Really hard. Some of you been there a long time. But I want to encourage you. Are you miserable in your job? Do you hate going to work every day? You're like, well, I gotta go to work. You tell family bye, like, see ya. You dread it. If you dread something, I have to ask the question, is that really where God has you? I don't think so. Well, I gotta pay the bills. Yeah, you do. I get it. But I guarantee you, when you start stewarding that job and you start praying about where God would lead you, God will provide another job that's perfect for you, your giftings, your abilities, whatever. Guys, when is the last time that when you went to a job, you prayed, God, is this what you want for me? Now, I'm not saying go quit your jobs, because then you can't pay the bills. But I am saying start praying about it and start stewarding whatever it is that you do. Instead of just... Guys, we weren't made to live a life of just being miserable. We weren't. We weren't. So I encourage you, start stewarding the jobs. Your finances, this is tough. No one likes to talk about money. Because you want to know why? Because I earned that money. I worked that 57 hours. Actually, God probably, anyways. Are you stewarding your money, or are you just building a life for you and your family so you can be secure? I'm not saying don't have a savings account. We have a savings account. I'm not saying I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm saying is, are you stewarding God's money? When you let go of your money and you place it before God, you begin tithing. You do. How many of you are don't raise your hands. Y'all are like already laughing. Are faithful tithers. I give my 10% no matter what. Don't raise your hand. That's stewarding your money. That's saying to God, you know what? This is not mine, it's yours. I have been a faithful tither from the time I got saved. And guys, I'm going to tell you, when I was 18 years old, 19 years old, single mom of a kid, you know what? I put in my $2, but I tithed my 10%. I made nothing back then. But I've always tithed. And you know what? God has always provided for me. Always. Always. Never questioned. Never doubted. When you start stewarding this, it looks like giving. Outside of tithing, that's just the basics. Do you know, guys, tithing is just the basics of what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to tithe. That's just a given. That's a given. Then we're supposed to do. So we tithe, but then are you giving to people in need? Giving of your time, giving of your finances. Some of you are like, no, I can't even pay my bills. I get it. I was that person. Hear me. I still gave. God always provides, guys. I encourage you, start stewarding your money. Do you really need that new boat? I mean, I do. Seriously, though. And your health. And then I'm going to wrap it up. This is another tough one. Because especially in America, where fast food is on every single corner. But our health is important. It really is. Because when you're healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, you're better for everybody. Your family, your friends, your coworkers. Are you stewarding your health? Or you're just like, you know what? This is my body. I'm going to feed it cheeseburgers every day. I love me a good cheeseburger, though. We had cheeseburgers last night at a cookout. I'm probably going to have them again today because we had leftovers. But seriously, guys, are you stewarding your health? You taking care of yourself? I'm not just talking about physically, mentally, emotionally. Take care of yourself. And I'm going to wrap up. I just had one question. It says, what do you need to be stewarding that you are steering? And I love how God speaks. I get in the Word every morning. It's my time, me time. And I got in the Word this morning, and I kid you not, my devotion this morning was in Proverbs 19:21. And it said, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. I knew this word was for us today. God was like, yep, that's what you're supposed to speak on. God's purpose ultimately is what prevails. Do you want to be a part of it? I do. So badly. So I'm going to open up these altars. And we're just going to have a time where I feel like we've not done the best job maybe of stewarding these things. We've really become our own gods, and we have controlled these things, and we somehow think we can manipulate the outcome of our lives. So I'm going to ask you in a minute, if you are tired of running your own ship, you're tired, and you're like, you know what, God, I need to give you everything. If you're tired and run down, you automatically know right there that you've been trying to be the captain of your ship. So I'm going to give you a moment to just, here's my life, Lord. I'm going to give you every aspect of it. So God, I pray right now that as we receive your word today, God, that ultimately as we come to the altar and we lay these things at your feet, that the burden is lifted, that the weight that some of the people have been carrying around would be left for you to carry. That we become stewards instead of the captains. Get ourselves out of the way, God, so you can have your way. So if that's you this morning, I ask right now, this isn't anything special. Just get up, come to the altar. I'm right there with you guys. There's still things that I hold on to, that I try to grip, and, I have to remind myself that no, God is in control. So if that is you, everyone stand. We're going to go into a time of worship. But if you are ready to say, you know what, I'm going to let go. Maybe you're ready to risk. Maybe some of you guys are like, you know what? I am ready to be a risk taker. You haven't risked anything in your life, but you're like, I'm going to do it now. Come if you're tired. Come if you just want to be used. Like, okay, God, I am a good steward. Maybe some of you are like, yes, I am a good steward. But I need you to show me, God, how? How? What do you want me to do? How can you use me? So come if you want to be used. Come if you want to begin to stop being the captain and let God steer your ship. So these altars are open. For anybody, I will pray with you as well. Stacy, if you want to lead us.